Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we come for you? So WWE RAW last night kicked off the show with John Cena. Yep, that was a real shocker. And out he comes, he talks about Brock Lesnar, how he's a big devastating force. He's a mercenary. He has to beat Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And he also talked about how people want to see John Cena get beaten up by Brock Lesnar. And to me, that's a problem. And the whole idea of John Cena being a hero, where is that? I get that he is being portrayed as the underdog, but to me, you have a problem when you have a bad guy and the people want to cheer the bad guy to destroy a good guy. Real twisted WWE logic. They put themselves into a pickle with this match. A match that I really don't care about in the first place. This is a feud that I just don't care about. I don't want to see this match again. But anyway, enough of that jibber jabber. But that's what this opening segment was. It was jibber jabber. And here you have Paul Heyman come out. And you have him talking about how Brock Lesnar is going to destroy John Cena like he did with The Undertaker, etc., etc., etc. Like I said, this segment was nothing more than jibber jabber. Just get to the point already. Don't beat around the bush. Just get right to it. That's all I wanted. And here, WWE RAW wasted 20 minutes of just nonsense talking. That was not good, in my opinion, because this really set the tone for the show to make me feel like, okay, this is going to be one of those Raws that's going to feel like a mixed bag. Unfortunately, this Raw really felt like that. And then you have Cesaro coming out. He talks about that John Cena is a walking billboard. He did describe it perfectly. I will give him that. And then they followed it up with a match between him and John Cena. And Cesaro also mentioned that you can't wrestle in sneakers and you can't wrestle, period. Well, what happened here? John Cena actually put on a good wrestling match with Cesaro. Here you have Cena go over in this match. And to me, what was the point of Cesaro being John Cena's opponent here and having him lose? This really doesn't help his career. It doesn't benefit him at all. It just benefits John Felix Anthony Cena. I don't know what his full name is, freaking thing, but that's the whole point of this, of these first two segments. And as much as how I like the flow of these two, how they combine it on the show, you could have done something a lot different here. You could have used Paul Heyman as a source, because he is the guy in the middle of this whole thing with Brock Lesnar and John Cena. Why not use him to book in a match with John Cena, and you know that John Cena is going to beat him up anyway? You could have done that. It would make a lot more better sense than having Cesaro come out here and challenge John Cena. Yeah, WWE, you could have done a lot of different things here. And like I said, this opening to this episode of Raw was just boring. It took too long to get to. But I like John Cena being a serious guy on the microphone. A serious John Cena is a good John Cena. Now, he was a little too serious and it was coming off really corny. He could have backed off, but still, overall, I love the promo with John Cena. I love the promo with Paul Heyman. It was just too long and boring. One thing that I really did like about the WWE is that they followed up on Paige turning on AJ Lee last week after their tag team match, thus turning Paige heel. I like it. And they followed up on it with a promo segment and a not half bad solid promo segment at that. Here you have Paige come out, and she talks about how her emotions got the best of her. AJ Lee is still her friend, but in the heat of the moment, she wasn't. Because this is my ring, this is my house, this is my rules, etc., etc. But then she goes back to saying, oh, she's her friend. I like the whole psychological ploy from Paige that's going on here. Then you have AJ Lee come out, and she tells Paige that, you know what, if I'm going to backstab you, I'm going to tell you to your face that I don't like you. And then Paige says, well, you're just crazy, you're delusional, and all that stuff. And then those two go at it. Now, as much as I like this promo segment, the WWE really didn't need to remind us that Paige was crazy. I think they could have dropped that whole crazy gimmick because it was a heel gimmick. Now AJ Lee is a babyface. Why even bring that up to begin with? To me, that kind of makes no sense on the whole heel babyface thing. I mean, why not have AJ Lee as this cool gamer hot chick without the crazy side now that she is a babyface? To me, that really doesn't make any sense. It's just WWE logic. That's just the way that I put it. But like I said, at least the WWE is following up on Paige's heel turn. Something that will kind of get you excited to seeing their match building up to SummerSlam. I'm sort of hyped up for it. Not as much as I thought, but at least this is a start. And then we get into what I thought was one of the highlights of the show, and it was a promo segment with Triple H, Stephanie, and Chris Jericho. Now, before Chris Jericho came out, here you had Stephanie in the ring crying, hurt, upset over what happened last week with her arrest. Triple H was mad and furious. He was talking away at the fans, blaming all the fans, each and every one of you, for my wife's arrest last week. And then Chris Jericho comes out, and he got a really good opportunity to really shine here and have that old school comedy Chris Jericho guy. He was making me laugh left, right, and center. The jokes to Stephanie McMahon singing, bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we come for you? And making fun of Triple H's big nose and what have you. This was really a fun segment and definitely one of the highlights of the show, period. Because I thought Chris Jericho, going back to his old roots back in, 1999, was great television. And then Triple H tells Chris Jericho that you don't need to worry about Stephanie. You need to worry about Bray Wyatt, because Chris Jericho wants Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam. Oh, why? You already bet Bray Wyatt. Why do you want to face him again? To me, that makes no sense at all. If anyone wants to face anyone, it's Bray Wyatt that wants to face Chris Jericho because he lost to Chris Jericho. That's just, again, WWE logic. And then you have Seth Rollins come out, attack Chris Jericho, which sets up the main event for the show, being Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho. And then we get into a 6-man tag team match with the Intercontinental Champion, The Miz, teaming up with Ryback to take on Dolph Ziggler and the Usos. And this was an okay match. I was fine with it. It was decent and what have you. Here you have Dolph Ziggler go over Ryback for some reason, and they couldn't have Curtis Axel take the pinfall? Weird. And on top of that, here you have this new group being formed in this new black regime of Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, and Biggie Langston. And for some reason, they're taking a step back to this match when the WWE kind of made this a little bit of a big deal last week. Why? You couldn't have this new group recruit new people like Darren Young or Titus O'Neil or Alicia Fox or David Otunga, do different things to really follow up on this new group. Instead, what do? They use him like crap here, and they took a back seat to a half-decent 6-man tag team match that served no purpose, only to have Dolph Ziggler go over the Ryback here, thus gaining momentum. Why WWE? I mean, you built this new group, and now they're just not even used. I mean, never even got in the ring and got physical with the Usos, which seems like that they could be going there for SummerSlam. But come on, WWE, get me invested into a tag team match and actually have them get involved here. Get in the ring and beat up the Usos. So R-Truth beats Bo Dallas. How random and how stupid could the WWE actually get here? Here we have Bo Dallas, who is an accidental going on a really good winning streak, and they end it way too early with a random superstar. It felt random. Everything about this was stupid. Oh, and of course, what does WWE do with Bo Dallas after he loses to R-Truth? They have him attack R-Truth because he lost, and now he feels like another heel on the roster. This was ridiculous on all levels. They could have done different things with him. He was going over with the crowd, and now they poon it and they do this crap. And then we get to a segment with Rusev and Lana. And they have Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger come out later on. And both of them cut really good promos here. And I love how they're emphasizing what their flag means to them. Lana talked about the Russian flag. Zeb Coulter talked about the U.S. American flag. How it represents beer, hot women, trucks, and the people that served our country, etc., etc. So I like what they're doing here. They're keeping it simple. Wish I could say the same thing with the opening segments, but at least we got something that it was very simple and it got the point across. And even though Zeb Coulter kind of messed up his line a little bit, this still came across really well, and this is a match that I'm really looking forward to SummerSlam. And I'm actually good with this match being maybe a flag on a pole match or even false count anywhere. You can add those two stipulations into one match, I guess. And then we get into a match. Well, not really a match because it got thrown out. And it was supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Kane. I'm glad I never got to see this match. I really didn't want to see this match because this match will probably ended up being terrible. So I'm glad we never really got it. But what we got was Randy Orton coming out and attacking Roman Reigns. Here you have Roman Reigns apply the Superman punch on Randy Orton. King choke slams Roman Reigns. And then Randy Orton just has at it all over Roman Reigns from there. Randy Orton was at his very best here, I thought. He was really intense. He was showing his aggressiveness. This is the Viper kind of guy I wish the WWE would use more of. And what Randy Orton should be most of the time. So I really did enjoy this whole beatdown from Roman Reigns. I like that Roman Reigns got that licking with the Superman punch. You know, they established Reigns there. And they established Randy Orton is back as that aggressive Viper kind of reboot kind of guy. I hope we get to see a lot more of that. Here you have Randy Orton take out Roman Reigns with the steel steps again, RKO on the announce table, doesn't even break, and then he gets up on a second time, and again RKOs him, and then finally breaks the table. Randy Orton will not be denied. He is breaking that table no matter what he does. So this really came across as something that felt really good. They established Roman Reigns here. They established Randy Orton. Two guys going at it. You can add the whole #1 contender stipulation for these two if they face each other at SummerSlam, which is most likely end up to happen. So I like that they're using Randy Orton here because he really needed something going towards SummerSlam. And Roman Reigns just felt like the perfect guy for Randy Orton. So all in all, this was really a win-win situation for all parties involved. So there were two matches on this episode of Raw that to me was just terribly disappointing to even sit through. I get the whole idea of having pointless fillers, to break up matches, to break up storylines. I get it. But this was just utter garbage from the WWE. And the first match was Damien Sandow versus Adam Rose. And the WWE on this show, they were in Houston, Texas. Damien Sandow comes in with a spacesuit as an astronaut saying, "Houston, we have a problem." Here I'm thinking, yeah, we do have a problem. It was this match. Here you have Adam Rose beating Sandow in 20 seconds, and I get the whole idea of Adam Rose being a comedic guy, and they're trying to do the same thing with Damien Sandow, but this was just not funny at all. Nothing about this made me even chuckle. This was sad. Just really, really sad and disappointing. And the other match I wanted to talk about, but I'm not really going to go in depth of, is Fandango versus Diego. And you know your career is gone completely downhill when you lose to Diego. Jesus Christ. And we also get a tag team match with Naomi teaming up with Natalya, taking out Cameron and Alicia Fox. And you have Naomi and Natalya win. You have Naomi finally get her revenge over Cameron via a tag team match. I mean, this is something you probably could have dragged out maybe a little bit to get Cameron get cheap victories here or there until they finally made a SummerSlam to get the big payoff for Naomi, but I guess they ended here. I'm okay with it. I thought this match overall was kind of rushed, a bit sloppy at times, but I liked the new finisher that Naomi applied to Cameron that made her tap out. That was cool. And then we get into the main event match on Raw, and that was Chris Jericho versus Seth Rollins. And this was an okay match, but I could have expected a lot better from Chris Jericho here. This was going okay. It was going well at first, it was in its own gear, but I was hoping it would go a lot faster and have some momentum, but it never really quite got there. I'm not sure what it was. I think Jericho maybe is starting to come off as a little bit rusty. He felt a little slow in this match, so that could have been a factor. Chris Jericho being slower than he was in the past probably had some sort of effect on this match. But overall, it was a decent match. I like the whole finish where Seth Rollins done a springboard and Chris Jericho countered it into a code breaker. That was a cool moment. Then you had the lights go out and the Wyatt family, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, and Bray Wyatt attack Chris Jericho. Now, here's the issue I have with this storyline going forth with SummerSlam. There's no reason for this match to be taking place. I want that reason. Chris Jericho never really gave us that reason why he wants to face Bray Wyatt, or even Bray Wyatt never really gave us a reason why he wants to face Chris Jericho. They sort of established the whole idea of Chris Jericho being Bray Wyatt's idol as a child, but they never bring that up too much. I would like to see a lot more the storytelling and promo work from these two guys instead of just having Bray Wyatt attack Chris Jericho week after week after week. The WWE needs to get me excited into a match, hype it up, build it up, do different things, do something to actually get me excited to this match. And to me, it just feels like that the WWE is putting these two together because they're Bray Wyatt and Chris Jericho and nothing else. And then we get to the final segment on Monday Night Raw, and that was Stephanie McMahon in the ring talking about how being arrested last week was a bad experience for her because she is someone who's in a high position of authority in the WWE, someone who represents the WWE and shouldn't be represented as a common criminal because she would get a bad rep for it. And then you have Brie Bella come out and she talks about how she wants to face Stephanie McMahon at SummerSlam. And Steph says no at first. So Brie has to sucker her in and she says, I will wrestle you if you drop all charges. So Brie is trying to sucker Stephanie in more and more and more. And then as it kind of gets heated there. You know, Stephanie finally cracks and says, okay, yes, I will face you at SummerSlam, because I will make you my bitch. And then she slaps Brie Bella and knocks her off the apron. That was fun. And then you have Finley, Jamie Noble, and the other guy, I don't know who the heck it was, breaking up those two divas. This was awesome. This was a really fun closer to Raw, I thought, in my opinion. And what's really refreshing is that they're giving Brie Bella and Stephanie McMahon in a featured segment on Raw, main eventing Raw, 2 females main eventing a Raw. When was the last time we saw that? Exactly. This was cool. This was refreshing. This was something to get behind and invested in going into SummerSlam. This was outstanding, and all the while the fans were chanting, Jamie Noble, Jamie Noble. And here I was laughing my head off. Of all people, they chant Jamie Noble. That was fantastic. Like I said, this closer to Raw felt great. I wish I could say the same about this overall episode of Raw, because this Raw wasn't great. It wasn't perfect by any stretch, but it was good. It had redeeming qualities to this show. Yes, this show did have some issues, like the last hour. Kind of took a nosedive, but kind of brought it back with this last segment, and the first 2 hours were fun. So overall, I would give this show maybe a 5 or 5.5 out of 10. This is just one of those shows if you want to get squashed by an earthquake. And if you saw Raw last night, what did you think about it? Comment below, let me know. While you're at it, you can hit that subscribe button down below this video. You can also follow MRB Wrestling on Twitter. And you can like us on Facebook at the Make Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. And on a final note, to all you viewers watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.